Welcome to In the Moment. I'm Lori Walsh. We're broadcasting today from the SDPB Rapid City Studios in downtown Rapid City. And today for A Moment in Sound, we have Devon Sants with us. Now, he recorded his first EP, Mess I've Made, here in South Dakota. But by that time, he already had a successful performing career in Colorado. We're glad to welcome him here. His music is kind of genre folding. Go ahead and try to describe it. There's influences of punk and folk and blues and whatever you call it. The songwriting always shines through. So Devon, thanks for being here. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I don't do a lot of interviews, so it's very exciting to be here.
All right, well, let's start out before we play a little music, just talking about your background a bit. What are some of the things that you think are really important as a songwriter before we talk about performing? When you kind of consider your own creative process, do you have a sense of, what you put first? What do you lead with?
I like to just be honest, tell the truth, whether it's a part of you or you're telling someone else's story or whatever you're writing about, wherever your influences come from. You just got to be true to yourself and be true to the audience. I think that's the most important thing because people can always tell a fake. So when you're telling a story, you got to make sure that it's your own, and that's what I like to share is usually just my experiences through song.
Does that come naturally to you, or is that something that you have to get through? Like you've done your first draft, as it were, and then you think, that's the part that I'm not there yet. I can be more authentic here.
I think it depends on the story I'm trying to tell. Most of the time it comes very easy, but sometimes there's things I've been through, and when you go to sing about it, you have to take a step back until you're kind of just ready to tell that story, and sometimes It happens on its own. A lot of times when I perform, I'll sing a song and I'll ad-lib things in that happened in the story I'm telling and that aren't really in the song, and that kind of happens a lot, more than not. So I think that's the most important thing. I had a chance to watch Blue October many times, and the one thing he's always kind of said is to just write your own songs and play them to who will listen, and that's kind of been my inspiration for songwriting.
And you are unafraid to bring some of those darker aspects of yourself to your music. Is there a point where is the music helping you get through that part of your life or that experience that might be more painful, or do you have to get through that part and then you're ready to put it into song? How do those two things intersect?
Well, for me, that's definitely how I got through it in a lot of cases. Without music, there's no way I'd be here. Since I was in 8th grade up until a couple of years ago, actually since I moved here, I struggled with suicide like my whole life, and without music, I would not have made it through.
Music literally saved your life.
Yeah, multiple times, whether it was something I was writing or something somebody else had written, and I'm just singing along to it. There's just always been kind of this outlet for this emotional outlet that I couldn't find anywhere else, and that's really what I connect with in songwriting. So
yeah, and then immediately when you're performing music, other people are going to mirror that back to you, and you become part of this circle of where you musicians have been your friends, even though if you didn't know them. Now you become that friend for somebody else who just happens across one of your songs. Do listeners ever come to you and say, that song, that helped me in some specific way?
Actually, yeah. This was last year. I was playing a gig over at the Loud American in Sturgis, and this guy came up to me and he just wanted to thank me for writing a certain song. Yeah. And he just said, "You don't know me, you don't know what I've been through, but I needed to hear that in my life. I have never seen that guy again, and hopefully it helped him in some way." Yeah. That was probably the coolest experience for my gigging career to date. So. Yeah.
And in that moment, it helped him. Whatever happens next, you know the truth of that moment.
It did. Yeah, so that was really cool. Yeah. And that's actually the first song I'll play too. It's a song I wrote called "I'm Not a Hero." And it's just all about dealing with and accepting your personal darkness and demons. I like to talk about that stuff a lot because it's real. We all have it. And when people don't talk about it or kind of hide from it, I think that it doesn't make them any stronger, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, go ahead and play that. This is Devon Sants here on Moment in Sound on listener-supported SDPB Radio.
I keep my darkness close to me, 'cause it's not my enemy, oh no. I'm not a hero. All these words in my head, they've all been said before. Like, why am I here? And what do I stand for? I tell myself I'm free and stand for something, but I know deep down inside I stand for nothing. I keep my darkness close to me, 'cause it's not my enemy, oh no. I'm not a hero. I've done things you won't believe. You wouldn't even recognize me, oh no. I'm not a hero. I embellish stories sometimes, and I'll do it again. I've hurt people that I love and gave up on my friends. There's something going down when every sad song's hitting home. When you're out late with your friends, but you still feel alone. I keep my darkness close to me, 'cause it's not my enemy, oh no. I'm not a hero. I've done things you won't believe. You wouldn't even recognize me, oh no. I'm not a hero. Don't say a prayer for me. Don't shed a single tear. I'm getting what I deserve. Now let me disappear. If I am just a ghost, then I want you to know I let my demons be. I'm not a hero. I keep my darkness close to me, 'cause it's not my enemy, oh no. I'm not a hero. I've done things you won't believe. You wouldn't even recognize me, oh no. I'm not a hero. I can always feel the pain, but it never outweighs my shame, oh no. I'm not a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm not a hero.
Devon Sants on listener-supported SDPB radio. His first EP is called Mess I've Made, and a single out as well, Home. Other projects are in the works. Tell us a little bit about that process of bringing something, to stage and then recording it and then trying to figure out, what does this look like all together? How do you sort that out?
For me, bringing it to the studio is actually harder than bringing it to the stage. Because when I'm on a stage, I can own it. I could put all that raw emotion into what I'm doing and that feeling and get everybody knowing what I went through. And it's really hard to do that when nobody can see you.
Right.
So when it comes to the studio, I try to think of different things from, do I want more instruments involved here? I try to get other people's opinion. I have a couple of musician friends I'll send things to, like, hey, what do you think would sound good here? And so that's kind of where Home came from. It was the first full band kind of recording I did. And that was a single I did here in Rapid City. and that really came out well. So
Yeah.
it's definitely harder for me to do than I think other musicians.
So you were featured on Heath Johnson's podcast, The Heath Bar, and I'm not going to steal Heath's material up here, but you guys have a really great conversation about bad songs that just did not work out. But talk a little bit, if you will, and I recommend that people go listen to the full podcast and the full conversation because Heath does a great interview. There is a sense of being willing to write something that sucks, that's even in your mind at some point later on. You're like, man, I can't believe I wrote that, but then it turns into something better. Or it goes away forever.
So I'm Not a Hero came from another song, and there were a few good lines in there that I went back and stole because I was like, this song just is horrible. And I finished writing it, and I never really played it. But those two lines that were really good in there, and that was, I keep my darkness close to me. That was the chorus line, and that became a whole other song. So sometimes when you write these bad songs, it's just something you have to do in order to move on to the next best thing.
Yeah.
And I think we all kind of go through this, and being on the Heath Bar, that's really easy to have a conversation with Heath, because we have good chemistry and we know each other, but he has beer when we're doing interviews, and that's just a cool thing to do.
We'll take note here on Moment in Sound. Adding beer will always help. But I think a lot of young artists need to hear that, because sometimes you do something that flops, and even if nobody ever sees it, but you've got it written down on the page, or you heard yourself, do it out loud, and you're like, oh my gosh, that can shut some people down. How did you learn to sort of push back that and trust the process that says, no, I'm a great artist. I'm a good artist. I'm getting better. I'm learning how to do this. When you were in your younger days, at some point you have to get over being bad in order to get good.
Oh, man. And then the thing that got me over it, I think, is I played a song I was not proud of, and I was just I had been playing all day, and my buddy was sick, so I just had to play more material, and we couldn't play covers at this particular venue. So I was like, I'm just going to pull from old material that's not good. And I played this song, and everybody liked it. And I was like, what? I trashed this song on purpose. And, this lady is my friend Chris Huisenga. It's his mother, Kelly. She really liked this song called City Lights, and I never play it. And I played it at the songwriter rounds because I was just kind of goofing off or whatever. And now I brought that song back, and I found new inspiration. I've tweaked it a little bit. So sometimes you just need feedback from other people to get over bad songwriting.
And we already learned when Chris was on Moment in Sound that Chris's mother knows. So if Chris Huisenga's mom says something is good, she has taste, apparently.
My suggestion to anybody out there who has written anything they're not proud of, or they think it sucks, or whatever the case may be, play it for other people and see what they think. Multiple people, and just keep playing it. And you could even start off, hey, this song sucks, but I'm going to play it anyway. And then it just kind of becomes, even if it's just a joke, it's still a fun thing to do.
Right. What is it that you like about it? And then try to keep that.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit on your guitar strap. You have pineapples here. So for radio listeners who can't see the pineapples, this is part of your onstage expression. Why pineapples?
I actually even have a pineapple tattoo on my left leg. And really for me, pineapples are just a reminder to be true to myself. Remember where I came from, know my roots, different things like that, and never take life so seriously, and always try to have fun with whatever it is you're doing. So that's what pineapples mean to me.
Yeah.
I actually got that whole theme and idea from my favorite TV show called Psych, and that's kind of the logo for their stuff is pineapples, and it just stuck with me. It just resonated really well with who I am as a person.
Yeah. Art that resonates.
Yeah.
There you go. What will you play for us next?
The next song I'm going to play a song called Dancing with the Devil. It's a little bit about different things in life, like church, and how some things don't work out for certain people, so you want to just go for it and jump off the deep end a little bit. And I've definitely done that more than once in my life. And it was on my single, or my EP that was out, but it's going to be on my full band album, and there'll be a full band version. It's going to be way different than what anybody's ever heard when it comes to this song. And it's just one of my favorite songs to play because it's kind of controversial, and sometimes you start playing this darker stuff, and it puts people on the edge of their seat, and I like doing that to people. So
Devon Sants on Moment in Sound.
Ever since I was 8 years old, well, I've been doing what I'm told. I went to church and I went to school. and boy was I such a fool. Minding rules, saying prayer, it never got me anywhere. My mama said not to roll the dice, but I'm dancing with the devil tonight. Like a shadow, I've been a slave to my shallow and stubborn ways. Straight and narrow for far too long. Well, now it's time for me to do some wrong. Minding rules, saying prayer, it never got me anywhere. My mama said not to roll the dice, but I'm dancing with the devil tonight. Change my name, sell my soul. You won't see me around here no more. I'm gonna walk this wicked road, 'cause I've got nowhere left to go. Spend money, drive fancy cars, I'm gonna write my name in the stars. Well, I'm tired of always doing what's right, I'm gonna dance with the devil tonight. Minding rules, saying prayer, it never got me anywhere. Well, my mama said to roll the dice, so I'm dancing with the devil tonight. I said I'm dancing with the devil tonight. I'm dancing with the devil tonight.
Devon Sants on Moment in Sound on SDPB Radio. Wow, thank you so much for that. It's fun to listen to, and it's challenging to listen to for some people. Are you having fun?
Yeah, I'm having
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
You know, that's a song I always kind of put in towards the beginning because it helps break the tension and show people what I'm about a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm having a good time.
Yeah, and I mentioned before, like, pick a genre. How do you describe that? Do you care how people sort of describe your music as long as they show up for the
Yeah, I
for
really
the show?
don't care.
Yeah.
My friend Chris, he likes to say I'm bluesy, devil blues and stuff like that, and so I'd just go with that. But
Yeah.
if I had to pick a genre myself, I guess it would be bluesy, folk, rock, I guess.
All right.
I don't know.
So when you have a notebook that you write down, do you carry a notebook with you?
All the time.
All right. So tell me a little bit about that process, especially for young artists who are trying to figure out, I have ideas, I forget them, I have an idea, I don't know what to do with it. Walk people through on how useful a notebook and that creative capturing can be.
Okay, so I actually get a lot of flack about carrying around a notebook because we live in a modern age, and they're like, dude, just use an iPad or whatever. And so for me, handwritten is just, I don't know, there's just something about it that's calming, and I really just can put my thought process on the page where I can scratch out things here right above it, different ideas right next to it, where I can't do that when I'm typing. It has to be, when I'm typing, I feel like it's formal, it's the final draft, and I don't really like to think of any of my music as the final draft, because I could always come up with something else that's like, oh, maybe if I had just changed this word. And, something Paul McCartney and John Lennon have both said is every word should mean something. If you change one word, it can change a whole song. So to me, it's very important to have that notebook and have that freedom, really, to write on all the pages or doodle and whatever.
Yeah.
My process, sometimes, too, I will record ideas, like just on a recorder or a recorder on my phone, write it down on my notebook, and just play it real quick. That way I don't forget it. So I'm very forgetful when it comes to how licks go and different things. Like, what was the tempo of that? What key was that in?
That was great.
I forget all the time.
What was it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, that idea's gone now. Oh, well.
Yeah, but there'll be another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, don't let anybody give you flack. I know we live in a modern age, and you can type everything out or voice record everything, but handwritten notebook to me is just part of my process.
Right. Talk a little bit, if you would. I'd love to hear just how, we've talked a lot about, on this show on Moment in Sound, about the culture of music and the arts in the Black Hills particularly, but in Sioux Falls, in South Dakota. And I'm always fascinated by, because I don't know that how many artists really think about what they're contributing to that music culture. They kind of see how they fit into it and how it intersects, but they don't necessarily think about the imprint that they're making. And I often can see it very clearly. Like if you get up and sing, somebody else is listening and says maybe, like, I haven't tried that kind of emotion, or I haven't done that with my voice, or I haven't, who cares whether this is country or folk or whatever, I'm just going to do it. Do you get that sense that even you're a young artist, but you're already contributing to the culture of a place just by standing on stage?
When it comes to contributing, just here in the Black Hills music scene, I think about that a lot, actually, about what am I doing on this stage that's different? What am I doing to help somebody in the audience? What am I doing to help my fellow musicians? And there's a couple different things I'd like to do. One, I promote everybody. It doesn't matter what genre. I like to throw them up on my Spotify. On if they have something new, I'll promote them on there or share their link on Facebook. So we like to lift each other up, I think, as a community amongst musicians. And then with the crowd, I think I bring a little bit of rawness, a little bit of this edgier kind of feeling to the stage that people don't really get around here. There's a lot of diverse things going on, but that raw and edginess, that dark kind of stuff, I don't think we have a lot of that up here. So I think that's what I bring to the table. And if you look at it like a wheel from punk rock to country, we got everything in between. I think I just fit somewhere along one of those slots. So.
Right, yeah. We can be so uptight. And that was one of the things that I appreciate about that last song. It was just like, oh yeah, everything's gonna be all right.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can just be yourself.
I didn't say it here because I'm not on a stage and there's no audience, but normally I say this song's about church, and I just play that
And then you
side
just
to
go.
start playing that. Yeah.
And everybody exhales and has a really good time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What will you play for us next here?
Well, I hadn't really prepared a set list or anything, but I think I'm going to end things with my latest single, Home. Yeah. It's a song I wrote about my grandfather and about Colorado, where I'm from. And it's just kind of means a lot to me. It's about advice my grandfather and my dad gave me, and just talking about your roots and being true to that and always staying true to that.
All right. Devon Sants.
When I was a boy, my granddaddy said to me, always be a man of integrity. Remember to be humble, and it's okay to get in trouble, as long as you're fighting for what you believe. My granddad might be gone, but his wisdom lingers on. His words help shape the man I've turned into. When I have children of my own, they will know his lessons too. And Grandpa, if you can hear me, this one's for you. When I breathe the mountain air, I can taste evergreen. I can hear the echo of your memory being whispered in the trees. When I breathe the mountain air, I never feel alone. 'Cause when I'm in I know that I'm home. When I was 14, my father said to me, I don't like liars or thieves. Work hard for what you want in life, and if you do something, better do it right. That's the kind of man I want you to be. My father's getting older now, but he's still young at heart. He's still there for me when life gets hard. I hope I was a good son, and I hope I make you proud. I hope I become half the man you are. When I breathe the mountain air, I can taste evergreen. I can hear the echo of your memory being whispered in the trees. When I breathe the mountain air, I never feel alone. 'Cause when I'm in Colorado, I know that I'm home. A piece of me is there amongst the mountain air, somewhere in Colorado. It's where I'll go to die. It's where I feel alive, somewhere in Colorado.
Devon Sants, well done. Thank you so much for being here with us. It's been a great pleasure.
It's been a really fun time. Thank you again for having me on here.
All right, find him on Facebook. New music, new projects, always in the works.
I'm working on two albums simultaneously right now. One will release in April, the other in October. And the first one's called The Wicked Road, and that's about this descent into darkness and all that stuff. And then the other one is kind of the finding balance and being able to be okay with it, and that's called The Righteous Path. So.
Devon Sants, follow him on Facebook for all the latest. Find his music on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your music, and check him out on the Heath Bar podcast as well, because that's a good time too. Thanks.
Thank you so much.